future Broncos. On behalf of Project CAMINOS, welcome back to another episode of Broncos Scoop. My name is Deicy Lemos. I'm a fourth-year architecture major here at Cal Poly Pomona and also student assistant of Project CAMINOS. Thank you for joining us for this new episode of Season 3. On today's episode, I will be giving you the scoop on what it's like to be a VCD or Visual Communication Design major here at Cal Poly Pomona. This is a series that Project CAMINOS has offered on our workshops previously, but on the podcast, we're able to bring in more majors and more insight. So if you applied as a VCD major and you're interested on what it's like to actually be a student, I brought two fourth years on this episode to share what it was like for them to go through this whole process. First off, I'd like to thank and introduce two very special guests joining us today. We have Ale and Mari. Can you guys please introduce yourself, your major, and your year?
My name is Alejandra Arevalo. I'm a fourth year graduating this spring. Like Deicy said, I'm a VCD major, which is Visual Communication Design. And I'm also a student assistant for Project CAMINOS.
And my name is Marijose Martinez, but my nickname's Mari. I'm also a VCD major graduating this spring. Scary. And I am the president for AIGA, the Student Graphic Design Club at our school.
You are in the College of Environmental Design as a Visual Communication Design major. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so Visual Communication Design is just the fancy way of saying graphic design. We're just graphic design majors, and it's a really broad field, so I could be here all day explaining all the different things you can do in visual communication design, but there's motion graphics, packaging design, branding, which is, like logos, even like environmental design, which would be like designing billboards and stuff like murals on buildings. So it's a really broad field. You can do a lot of things. There's also a 3D modeling, illustration. You can do a lot of things. There's also, of course, app design, web design, all sorts of stuff. I think a lot of people assume we're just art majors and it's fun. It is hard, but it's fun at the same time. At least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So, like the workload gets heavy.
Yeah, it's definitely creative. Like, it's not something like you have to like do kind of like factory, like you know exactly step by step what you're gonna do. You kind of just think more about it, and you have to think conceptually. So you use your brain a lot, but not in the sense of like me trying to figure out how many times 5 goes into like 100. That's kind of easy.
I think there's a lot of problem solving, but you don't even realize you're doing it.
The purpose of graphic design is to like communicate stuff to people in the end of it. So even if we design like this cool poster with amazing colors, we still have to think about, well, how are people going to react to it? Or are the colors I chose like friendly for colorblind people? I always forget about that. I forget.
Contrast is like enough.
Yeah.
So, when did you know what career or major you wanted for yourself?
I've always, like from high school, I've always had an interest in graphic design because I learned how to use Photoshop. And then I took the elective in high school. And I remember the professor, like specifically, not the professor, the teacher, like specifically mentioning that Cal Poly was a really good school for that. And it just stuck with me. So I always kind of had Cal Poly in the back of my head and the major. And then when I was a senior, I just thought, okay, this is the only thing that I've been interested in, so I'm just going to go for it. And another big incentive was that I always liked drawing and art, but didn't want to go to art school. Like I wanted something with more like structure, I guess. So I thought graphic design was a nice balance. And of course, I think it's really rare not to doubt yourself and just be 100% sure. So of course, I always tell people like my first week, I remember like being really freaked out because our department's really different from maybe what other people expect from college. So I didn't know like how the classes were gonna be. So I remember because I've always been a very academically oriented person, So I don't know. I remember freaking out and wanting to look into other majors, but an advice I always give people is to check out the curriculum sheets for whatever major you're interested in, because you can see what classes you're gonna have to take in order to get that bachelor's. And I remember checking out like all sorts of different majors and comparing it to the VCD curriculum. And I was like, yeah, no, I think this is where I'm supposed to be at. So it's normal to be unsure. But after the first semester, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna switch. I like it.
My story's a little similar to ours. I was in yearbook in high school, and I got to become like design editor, which it was like basically designing the yearbook page for page. Which now that I think about it, they didn't even pay us. Not even a free yearbook, just like
You don't get a free yearbook?
no, we didn't even get a free yearbook. I'm so pissed about it. um, but anyway, so in high school, I was always into like book designing, mostly because of yearbook. But graphic design, honestly, is not something you hear about as a career choice. Like, and it's also very scary because there's kind of this stigma that as designers or artists, people are gonna like not make a good living. Which personally, my mom and we immigrated from Mexico, so it was like a lot of pressure to decide what major I wanted to be because obviously we moved here from Mexico, and she expected me to be like a doctor, a lawyer, freaking go to space or something like that. But when I was like graphic design, she was like, "Are you sure?" So applying for schools, I never really thought about like my major, and initially I wanted to go to Cal Poly for architecture because I heard it was a good program, but I didn't have a GPA for it. So I applied as a landscape architecture, and then my alternative was BC. No, I think my first choice was VCD, and my alternative was landscape architecture. And then I got in, and the first week I was also like, well, this is fun. I'm gonna be like drawing and stuff, but I want to switch majors. And then after the first week of doing graphic design and the classes we had, it was like, no, I don't even know how to do long division. Like, how am I gonna be a whole architecture major? Yeah, in the classes, because something about graphic design, everything's more like visual, and I'm definitely visual. So the first week, it was when I was like, yeah, this is where I belong.
That's funny because I was like, I should have done VCD like 2 years into architecture because I like the artsy stuff of architecture and I hate all the math stuff.
Right.
But I'm into deep. What does a week look like for you as a VCD major this semester?
Ooh, okay. Well, I'll give you what it used to look like, and I'll give you what it looks like now. So, okay, before COVID, I was a second year when we went into lockdown. So right before I left, my days were, and this isn't very common. This is what I mean. Like VCDs, I think VCD and even architecture are really different from everybody else's experience, because I know a lot of people were able to fit their schedules, like just come to campus twice a week. I was here Monday to Thursday, and I had never been able to like shorten that to just 3 or 2 days a week. I was here Monday through Thursday, like sometimes it'd be 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 1 to 5 p.m.
I think it's because the classes is not like a regular 1 hour class. Because there's the studio classes, we have like 3 hour studio class. So
yeah, our classes are categorized as activity classes. They're studios, and they're 3 hours long, and they're twice a week. It's not so,
we have the same. I think all the environmental design, we all have the same.
And I honestly,
studios.
I don't, at first when I was a freshman, I was like, what am I gonna do there for 3 hours? But it goes.
Yeah.
Fast. And sometimes
somehow that's my shortest class. Like an hour lecture will feel longer than studio.
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like my days are long as a VCD student, but you know, the longer you're on campus, the more chances you have of meeting people and you know, making connections. I feel like, yeah. Um, so that's what it used to look like. It would, I think, you know, it always kind of felt the classes are like in the same time spot. So I'd always be here, you know, Monday, Wednesday, 8 a.m., leave maybe at 3 or 4. And then other days I'd be from 1 to 5. And yeah, always make sure you leave a gap for lunch. Really important because if not, you're literally gonna be walking around really, really hungry. Uh, Now things are kind of different. We're like barely going back in person, so I think last semester was a little more accurate because this semester I'm only on campus Tuesday and Thursdays for one class. But last semester I had two classes in campus and they only met once a week. But that's because I take senior level classes now, and instead of being 3 hours twice a week, they're once a week and 4 hours. So I was only here twice a week. So finally, as a senior, I was able to shorten my schedule to just twice a week.
Ooh.
So first time ever.
Yeah, I know. That twice a week schedule feels like, what is going on? Where are all the other classes? I should be very busy right now.
But oh wait, hold on. Let me finish this. I guess that's what my schedule looks like, but because I'm a commuter, before COVID, I would have to leave my house like an hour and a half before the class actually starts. So you have time to drive to school, and then you give yourself at least 20 minutes to find parking, and then give yourself at least 10 minutes to actually walk to class. And I think 10 minutes is good for me because my building is right by where I park, but there's other buildings that are nowhere near close a parking lot. So you need to take all of that into account when you're a commuter. Which at first I think, honestly, if it's the first day you're in campus, just come 2 hours early.
Yeah.
Honestly, just come and the day before sleep in your car and sleep in your car.
Yeah, park. Go get the first parking spot you see and sleep there. So yeah.
Yeah. When you're a commuter, I think college is a very different experience from when you have you live on campus or near campus. Personally, for me this semester, it's kind of weird because I still had in mind that we would come back like everything was pre-COVID. But I have a mix of Zoom classes and in-person classes. I'm definitely taking less classes. I know I'm taking 5, and I know that's not less than usual.
5?
Yeah, I'm taking 5 because let me tell you, I was like,
how many units is that?
4 units are a little off because these senior classes are like 4 units instead of 3.
Yeah, but I guess in general that would be like the 12 unit requirement or the 15, right? If it's
15.
Yeah, 15. But before COVID started, I signed up for a minor because I wanted to do an emphasis on UX design for graphic design, which is pretty much web design and app design. And I was like, computer science minor is so hard. It would have taken me another year of school. So I found this computer information systems, and I saw the word computer in it, and I was like, yeah, for sure. This relates to UX, UI design, and web design. This is what I need. And then so I signed up for it, and it was just the prerequisites. It was statistics, nothing hard. And then the pandemic hit, and I started having to sign up for the actual classes that's computer information system, completely different from what I thought. It's not a lot of coding, that's what I thought it was because it said computer information. So in my head, I was like, they're giving me information about computers, but it was more of data analysis, which I guess it's useful because you analyze data, and we live in a world of data with the internet, but it definitely takes away a lot of time from my actual VCD stuff. But I'm already in it, kind of like with you in architecture. I'm like, I'm 1 unit away from getting a minor, so I might as well. So yeah, this semester I'm taking a mixture of VCD in computer information systems, which they call it CIS classes. But my favorite class this semester is the class that I'm with Ale. It's ceramics. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just fun. I think anyone in Cal Poly can take it. It's just like a battlefield to get in the class because everyone wants to take it. But yeah, it's so much fun. It's 3 hours of just playing.
It goes so fast.
Yeah, it goes so fast.
Stay there longer.
Yeah, you're just like playing with clay, getting your hands dirty.
Yeah.
I come out of her looking like I rolled in the dirt, like I was on the floor rolling.
What's your favorite memory of Cal Poly Pomona so far?
Oh, I think I have a few. One of the most vivid memories was when the trolley poly like got destroyed and a tree fell over it. I feel like that was very shocking. Not necessarily my favorite, but
that happened the day they announced we're not coming back, and I still think that was an omen of what was to come.
It was like
yeah.
I actually had like such a nice day, and then we shut down. I remember we went to Porto Sabe with Marky and Em.
I don't remember that being the day that we left, but that was to leave on.
Yeah, it was like the day before, like 2 days before everything shut down, and it was just nice to like hang out because in the department, since it's so small, we have kind of like a thing that our building's kind of not very nice looking, and the lounge where we all hang out is kind of very small, so you get to know everyone in the major.
You hang around, and there's a thing about Cal Poly, like since we're a commuter school, I think it's a little harder to make friends, but it's up to you. Like if you hang around, if you make conversation, like people are really friendly. So
yeah.
You can make friends.
Yeah, so that day I remember we went to get Portos, and then there's a print lab in our building where it was all the people pre-COVID. Some of them already graduated, and then we were just there in the print lab hanging out, not really doing our work, but it was just a fun day and hanging. I think the people in our department are really nice, and that's what makes the experience way better.
My favorite moment at Cal Poly, I always mention it. Right before, I think we got to do one in person before we went online, was our 2D 3D show. That was nice. It's a juried exhibition of student work. So all the students, you get 3 slots of whatever. It could be a painting, it could be graphic design, it could be a sculpture. You submit it to the gallery, and then they have a jury decide which ones make it and which ones don't. So that's one of my favorite things. And we have continued doing it online, so it's a virtual exhibition for the last 2 years. But it was so much fun, like actually going in the gallery, seeing everyone's work being professionally like hung and displayed. And then so the gallery is split up in 2 rooms. The first room, which is the front room where you walk in, was all senior portfolios. And I was a freshman, so I was so like taken back and impressed by just like everyone's skill level. And I remember thinking, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be at when I graduate. And I don't know how 10 went by so fast, but I'm somehow here now.
Yeah, so, we're like months away from making our portfolios, which now looking back, it's so nerve-wracking being so close to graduation, especially because 2 years we're kind of just us at home on our computers, because graphic design is pretty much that you're on your computer. So I felt like those years didn't even happen. But yeah, I think the moments at Cal Poly is what made the major even more enjoyable.
I'm grateful we got what, like a year and a semester.
Yeah, a year and a semester
of experience.
So the major is preparing you for your career goals.
Oh, okay.
You want to go first?
Good one. So we are learn by doing, which you definitely are, like from your, okay, so the way Cal Poly works as a first-time freshman is like, I know some majors, you'll start your first year with maybe a lot of GEs, because they're prerequisites for your actual like major related classes. And maybe you'll have like intro to, if you're a sociology major, like sociology or something, I don't know, I don't really know how it works for them, but for us,
good for them, good for
yeah, good for them. But for us as a freshman, when I was registering, right off the bat, I remember how it went. It was, they had me do like 3 graphic design classes and just 2 GEs as my first time freshman, first semester. I remember being so confused because I had been told in high school for the past 4 years, oh, the first 2 years in college is just GEs. You're going to be taking all these classes again. That's not true, because the majority of my classes were graphic design. So from like the first moment I stepped foot on campus, was already being like given the chance to use like the Adobe programs that I only knew Photoshop. And now like Photoshop, I barely use Photoshop. Like I'm more of an Illustrator person, which I had never even used Illustrator. You get put into the studio environment, which all your classes are later on. You start like being given assignments, projects, deadlines, which is really, really important. So right off the bat, I felt like I've been designing and making stuff since I was a freshman. So I really like that. It can get overwhelming. Like sometimes you do GEs and VCD and everything meshes together. But yeah, I do feel like I have 4 years of graphic design.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it sucks you can't frame it like that sometimes because it's not quote unquote a job. But we really have been making stuff since like our first VCD class, and you start learning a lot.
Also the projects too, I feel like I noticed this, that our school is different from other schools in the way we do our work, because we did Adobe Creative Jam, which was kind of like competition between schools, I think in California, for designing an app. And they gave us a topic, and each school had to design an app, petition and illustrate to the other schools. But our school makes us make everything from scratch. Like if you want to use a photo for one of your posters, you have to go out there and physically get the photo for your poster. You cannot use anything from online. And then I noticed that other schools, the students are allowed to grab stock photos or icons from online, and our school is very strict about that. They're
so strict.
Yeah,
even
for the
painting, if you want to like paint a flower, whatever you're using as reference has to be your own photo, even for the painting.
So I think in that aspect, it really makes you involved in the entire process when you're creating stuff, because you have to really be thinking about, okay, I want to make this poster and I want to have this picture of it. Like I cannot just go on Google and be like, if it's a whale poster, like whales, and then put the picture of a whale. Like I have to be like, well, I cannot get a picture of a whale. I am not a professional animal photographer, so I have to think of either I illustrate it or you could ask for permission to the photographer, I think. But I mean, who's gonna go and email like, hey, can I use this for my freshman level class? Yeah, so in that aspect, I think it's very hands-on. Everything has to be your own, which is, it's intimidating. I feel like anyone that's hearing that, they could be like, what, everything your own? But then it really involves you in different aspects of not just graphic design, but you learn photography, you learn other aspects that you wouldn't necessarily do with everything you just got from online, because it's just so easy to go on Google and be like,
yeah. A lot of people that start in VCD complain that, oh, why am I doing drawing classes? Why do I have to do foundations of 3D? Like, why am I taking all these classes? Because the first set of classes you take in VCD are foundations, and there's foundations of 2D, 3D, 4D, and 5D. And the way that the department likes to do this, they want to expose you to all these different fields of graphic design, so you have experience in them, and then you can maybe like find your passion right then and there. And then of course, like Mari said, we can't use someone else's illustration and we can't use someone else's photograph. So it's key that you learn how to illustrate. And in order to illustrate something, you need to have the basics of drawing. So that's why you end up
Yeah.
taking these drawing classes. So it all ties in.
Oh my gosh, I remember my first classes for drawing. I was terrible. Like it gave me a full like meltdown because I was like, I can't draw.
And you don't have to be good at drawing.
Yeah, but
It's just there
that's what
to
I
teach you
learned.
basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you know the basics, like because they teach you how to draw the human body and how to draw shapes. As long as you know the basics, then you can go into the next step of is making your own illustrations for your projects instead of going on the internet and getting like Apple illustration. Like I can draw my own Apple now.
I like stopped taking the last drawing class you take is drawing 2.
Too.
Oh, and then you could do a live drawing elective if you
Oh
want.
my gosh. Can we just
Last
talk about
one.
live drawing and how that's such a crazy experience? Like live
Wait,
drawing.
what?
The last drawing that you're forced to take is drawing 2. I've never touched any of that stuff again. So it's really just there to teach you the basics. But you take all that you learn when you start like digitally illustrating, like an icon or just
Yeah. But honestly, those drawings, I know that like even if they're not the best drawings necessarily for like at least mine for like a show, I am so proud of them because I was able to draw whatever from scratch and it's just a very satisfying moment. But yeah, anyway, live drawing, it was such a crazy experience for me because in my head, again, I do not research anything. I'm just like
You
in
don't
my
read the
head.
curriculum sheets?
No, I just
there's 2 sides
You need
here.
to get picked that up from
But you
her.
know what?
Yeah.
Maddie and I are both Capricorns, but you can guys see a difference here.
Yeah, you can tell like the different sides of of Capricorns, but Alice very research, very like she knows what she's doing. Me, I'm like I just jump in and whatever it is, like I'll take it. But for life drawing, same, assuming things when I probably just should have read the curriculum. I thought it was like we were gonna be outside drawing things. No, 2 weeks in, I think it's a month in after doing like shapes and portraits of our faces. Our professor was like, "Oh, so next week we're bringing a model for you guys to to draw."
It's naked modeling class like in the TVs. Is it like that?
Yeah, that's
Oh
exactly
my
what I
god!
thought. Yeah.
Wow.
And they block out
They
the
have that
windows.
really?
They block out the windows, and you cannot have your phone out, nothing.
It's very
Really?
strict. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very strict.
And it's just such a surreal experience because I've seen it in TV and
Yeah.
and I'm like, what? This is me right now, like and then at first, honestly, personally, it's kind of like shocking because I've never been exposed to that environment, which is if you do life drawing, usually it's like normal, but then like the first time you do it, you're like, what? And then yeah, I think that's another experience at Cal Poly. What I was like, oh, this is happening. Like, oh, the model is taking their robe off. We're gonna start drawing them. And at first you're like, I guess, you're kind of like, oh, what's going on? But then you focus on actually drawing the model, and then you forget that there's a news person in front of you posing for you to practice your drawings. But
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, that is learned by doing, if you ask me.
yeah. There's also a lot of opportunities to do the things you want, because like I said, you get exposed to every field of graphic design. But if you're like, man, I'm not gonna go in mushroom graphics, I'm set on UX UI, you can do special studies with like a professor of your choice. Tell them, I want to make an app about this, and then the whole semester, for credit, obviously you can design it and get guidance from that professor. You can do internships and it counts towards credits. You can repeat senior classes. So as a senior, those foundation classes get introduced again as senior level workshops, and you can choose what you want to emphasize in. So
yeah, so you don't necessarily have to do like, if you don't like designing posters or like motion graphics, like Alice said, you have that. Once you get through all the foundations, you start having freedom and of choosing what you're interested in and what your emphasis is going to be. So I think in that aspect is very nice because like I think there's a 3D class, like 3D, what is it, workshop 3D, I don't even know what they
workshop
do.
3D. Yeah.
But I like, clearly I'm not interested because I don't know what they're doing in that class. But personally, I'm interested in motion graphics, and I took the workshop once with one professor, and I'm taking it again with a different professor. As long as you get the credits, you can take the classes, the workshops again.
And it's really common to repeat. I'm like, this is my second time taking 5D, which is a rep design class. So a lot, yeah. You can pick.
Is it because the classes there, like you make different stuff so then you can retake them?
Yeah, so like the project, it's like project based. When you get to upper level classes, you're designing a project. It's kind of like if the professor's your client and they tell you, okay, this semester we're gonna design. I think last semester the design like
we'll have different projects.
Yeah, it's the same concept but different subjects, so you can still add it to your portfolio. And definitely the entire goal of the workshop is to give you something to add to your portfolio, so when you graduate you can get a job. So they're definitely strict to about once you get to workshops they'll tell you like, oh, it sucks, or no, this
last semester for my app design class we did a home smart home app. I don't know, like, you know, like Roomba, like sort of stuff. And you literally had to like make up your own product. So it was your decision what you wanted to do. Like, you want to do a smart lamp, go for it. If you wanted to do like a smart, I think someone did a scale, you can go for it. I did like a headset, those virtual headsets, and then the idea would be like you would sit at home and you would be able to like tune into a virtual reality concert. That was my concept. But then this year, it's a group project and it's an Alexa skill. So, and then last semester, that smart home app took the entire semester, just one project to like get everything like perfect. But then this semester, the professor's doing like multiple projects in smaller periods of time. So if you retake the same professor, they're like, you're gonna have to discuss with the professor, like, I already did this project, can I do something else? But it's just better if you're going to repeat a workshop, it's just better to take a different professor because you'll take from them, and then the projects will be very different.
What type of GEs or general education classes have you taken outside your major that you really enjoyed?
I think mine might sound a little like boring, but I swear it was really interesting. I took 2 semesters ago. I think it was 2 semesters ago. I took Race and Racism with Alex Mavda, which he went viral on TikTok.
Let me clarify that I never make mistakes. I'm, I used to be conceited, but now I'm perfect. I'm perfect in every way, and I never make errors. However,
it was just like a really interesting class. Like it really changed my perception of things. Really interesting. But like I said, I'm really academic oriented, so I like learning. So this was a upper division G. I also took the Harry Potter class. That was fun, of course.
Wait, what do you guys do in the Harry Potter class? Do you guys just read the books?
No, we don't. She really emphasized that it's not a book club, which is what I was thinking
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, no, you like already have to have read all the books, and you just go in class, and she has like quizzes I think it's every week or something. I can't remember exactly. And then we just have a discussion, and there's a lot of comparison with other different like literary works.
I think for me it was kind of hard to get the GEs that I wanted, again because of my minor that I jumped into without thinking. So my schedule was a bit busy this year. I think last semester I took like 24 units just so I could graduate on time, which is
I did 18 one semester, 2 semesters, and I was dying.
I was like having like
they let you register for 24 units?
Yeah, you just have to like request it, and then if your advisor accepts it, then you can do it, which Ale, you know who my advisor is, so that's probably why he let me do it. But I
can't even I can't even process.
I can't even
honestly, it was a lot of hours. So for anyone listening, if you want to keep your sanity, I recommend the most 18, and that's pushing it. I always try to look for classes that will kind of relieve me from being, as much as I love graphic design, you need a break from
Yeah.
from the computer and also the GEs. I took a yoga class. It was worth 1 unit. So much fun. We were still in person. It's like the teacher was really, or the professor or the instructor, I don't know. They're really like, it was just a relief from the other classes.
I guess that's ceramics for me.
Yeah, that's ceramics right now for me. That definitely.
That's technically a VCD elective. But I also did the painting elective. Ooh, that one had me stressed, like high stress. Because it's like, I don't know, each painting.
Also, you took it with Fong, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I love her,
Yeah,
but
Fong.
I do not want to do, you know, it's those professors that you like them so much, you really want to try because you do not want to.
That was
Oh,
the issue. Like
I'm
needed,
in a situation like that right now,
that was my issue. Like every painting, dedicate 10 hours to it because I'm not gonna give Fong a bad painting.
Like she deserves a good painting.
Not on my watch. I'm like, here's my body and soul. I did this for you.
She'd be like so blunt about our drawing. She'd be like, the face is
it's ugly. The face is ugly.
The face is ugly. Like, why would you draw? No, oh my god. So one time she put her face for us to draw her. No, like, please.
No.
And then when I showed her my drawing, she was like, why would you draw me like that? And I was like, no.
My type professor, Cara Cloutier, she took us to a cemetery, and that's the most memorable moment in Cal Poly. Actually, I just remembered it. The field trip was to Spadra Cemetery in Cal Poly, which I later Googled and found out that that's like the haunted spot for the Pomona people. And I was there, and it was type, so she wanted us to trace the headstones to get the type and the headstone, and then. Yeah, there you go. That's my and I'm listen, like I don't like to disrespect the dead, but I felt really weird about tracing that headstone.
You're like, I don't like to disrespect the dead, but I needed it for a grade, so I am so sorry.
I like your font. Let me get that. Yeah,
let me trace it real quick.
That's my most memorable moment in Cal Poly. Yeah.
The meaning of art, it's like at first it's your own. But once you put it out into the world for people to judge, it's like whatever they want it to be. So in that sense, art is like you can do whatever because you're putting it out there for the world to judge. I guess it's my opinion.
I started to give up on that. Let's give it meaning.
Here. Yeah.
Let me show you something. Hold on. Painting final last semester. It's a diorama. And I went up there. And everyone, their like projects were super meaningful. This is my second time taking painting. So when it's your second time taking these classes, you can do anything you want because you already followed the curriculum. So I was just doing whatever I wanted. So I showed up with this and they're like, oh, like, what does it mean? I just said, it doesn't mean anything. It's cute. And I called it, I'm a senior. I can't keep.
You're like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
Wait, I
can't keep doing.
No.
You know what? I'm starting to hit that point too.
Yeah.
I gave up.
Yeah, honestly, as long as it has its function, there is a part of graphic design where it's like, as long as it has its function, it works, it's like decent looking, you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I want to show something too. Hold on. I did this. In one of my, what is this?
Whoa. That seems like it has a deep meaning.
Well, I know the deep meaning is that the deadline was coming soon. Like it was due the next day. And I was like, let me go to the thrift store, like do some creepy stuff over here. And then sometimes I would get up there and just be like, so the meaning is that it's plastic and like we're all like disposable. And then they were like, yeah, but sometimes you just gotta fake it till you make it. Like I went to Michael's, got gold paint and rhinestones, and I was just like, let me do something.
Was that for 3D?
Foundations, with more.
Yeah. We end up doing, sometimes you'll end up doing like the most random projects and you're like, am I really a graphic designer? You'd be like, what am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? Don't worry, we actually do graphic design.
Yeah,
stuff.
we have graphic design stuff.
Yeah.
I think these are the most memorable stuff because super random and off topic. But if you are in any way working on your computer, get 2 external hard drives so you don't lose all your files. Just talking for a
Back it up.
friend.
No.
Back it
Yeah,
up.
it's true.
Back it up, back up your files.
You should
Not-
probably back one up in like a physical hard drive. and
yeah,
probably
physical
pay
and
like
like
Dropbox or something.
mhm.
Yeah.
Not because that happened to me, clearly not, but
Oh, my advice: if you have a Mac, get Apple Care. Almost everyone in our department has Macs, and then if you don't have a Mac, it's like a gaming PC too.
Mhm.
So I remember,
But
like,
also if you don't have a Mac, we're like,
I know. I feel like if
No.
for graphics, you need a Mac. I would get a Mac if
yeah.
you could run all the software the same as like a
yeah,
gaming
honestly,
it.
laptop.
for,
a regular
I think architecture
The
is
screen
different.
I
resolution is
know.
nice.
If it,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I would
I
see
wish I
people, like,
could.
trying to get away with like
Also-
a regular like essay writing laptop, and like you would open After Effects and it'd be like it's like a tornado in there. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, After Effects, it's like the motion graphics
Yeah.
program for Adobe. It really does not fry, but your computer's struggling to get by.
Mhm.
Like you can just
Yeah.
hear it, zzz, like it's the most expensive fan you've ever owned because it's like overheating, everything's low, you're trying to turn it in, but the computer's not working. It's a whole experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in our building, we have a computer lab with like the iMacs. So if you can't like, purchase a computer your first year or something along those lines, or you just can't do it right now, you can get in that computer lab. I believe it's 24/7, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I've never used it though.
We have not taken it. We need to
That's a resource for you.
yeah, we need
Yeah.
to start going and like getting our money's worth
No,
of
Yeah. Low-key,
Let's run
that's
After Effects on those iMacs. Let's see how it
yeah,
goes.
let's try their
Let's see how their
computer.
phones work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you see yourself doing after you graduate from Cal Poly Pomona?
Well, I'm graduating this semester, so really, really should have a plan. You know, I'm like not those type of people that have like, I am a UX UI person or I'm a motion graphics person, and that's the only thing I see myself doing. I'm like really open to anything. I'm open to working like in-house, which means like you work for, like, for example, right now I'm doing in-house work. I just do Cal Poly stuff and work with like the Cal Poly brand and the Project CAMINOS brand. But I'm also open with, going with a firm and having all sorts of projects coming in. Most likely not motion graphics stuff. That's not really like my emphasis. Even though I do a lot of GIFs for Project CAMINOS, and I'm glad that I got to learn After Effects through that. But I've always been into like branding, marketing, packaging design. So I'm really open to anything, but it's most likely going to be some sort of 2D work.
Yeah, I can see that in your work. Your emphasis is mostly 2D, which is I always tell Ale, amazing. But you're like, stop it.
Yeah.
No, but it's good. I think honestly, the world feels so uncertain. Like even before the pandemic happened, everything felt so like you don't really know what's gonna happen, but at least you have like a certain idea of what you want and it feels like you can do it. But right now I think everything feels so crazy, like with the pandemic when it happened, everything felt like what's going on. So for me, having a plan right now gives me even more anxiety because I get nervous. I'm like, I don't really know what's gonna happen. But the goal for me after graduating is like Alice said, there are so many fields in graphic design, and I'm very indecisive. So I think I'm just gonna focus on making a good portfolio, presenting it because we have our industry night, presenting it on industry night, like just getting through that, and then seeing what happens after that. Hopefully go into motion graphics, specifically into title sequences, go working for a studio or book cover designing. Those are my two interests. But if anything, like hopefully get a job on that. And if anything, you can always freelance as a graphic designer. That's a nice part. Like find your aunt that needs a logo and charge her $1,000.
What opportunities have you taken advantage of in your college or major?
I'm just gonna plug this in because I always make a note to mention this. Like if you're a first-time freshman or even if you're a transfer, okay, I know for sure first-time freshman, you can join the California Promise. It used to be called 4-Year Pledge when I was a freshman, and I happened to join it. Like I didn't realize how key this would have been to graduating in time and, and not having a hard time with registration, because when you're California Promise, you make a promise that you're going to graduate in time in the 4 years. And because you made that promise, they give you priority registration, which is like the first date, like the first window. And I've never had an issue registering for classes. Like the only issue I've ever had was like sometimes like the times clash, but I think that's like a key reason why I didn't fall behind and I'm graduating in the 4 years. But also like if you're trying to take your time and you're not trying to rush, but yeah, priority registration is really nice to have. So that's an opportunity that I took advantage of. And it also like forces you to stay in contact with your advisors, which personally for me, like, I don't know why I have a hard time reaching out for help. Like I want to figure it out on my own before I even ask for help. But they forced you to stay in contact with your advisors. So I got to know where those resources were. And I as a senior now, I don't care. Like one little question, I won't even bother. Like I'll just write someone something and try to get the answers straight from them. So I'm glad, because I feel like I probably wouldn't have talked to my advisors if I hadn't been forced to, but I'm glad. Within my major though, there's a lot of opportunities. Like it's really what you make of it. I think it's how we've been saying, how much effort you put in. I really am glad that I took advantage of making connections with the faculty and the professors. I think I really like them. They have good advice. I feel like I can email them, ask them questions. I feel like I have enough of a connection with them to reach out for help with a lot of them. And so
it's that connection that you build with the faculty. Like they're there to help you, but also like if you don't make the effort to
they're not gonna be like, hey, did you finish your final? It's due tomorrow.
They're like, okay, final to tomorrow. Good. If you finish it, good. If not, too bad.
I think, the faculty like take advantage of them. They're really nice, and like you make a connection with them. Then later on, you feel comfortable doing a special studies.
Ask them about their kids. Everyone loves talking about their kids, and then you're in.
They pull out the photo of the album.
They always pull out the album. You already know. If you ask them about the kids, they're gonna be like, "Here's a photo of them doing whatever."
I love the VCD faculty. Like they're good professors. They know.
Everyone their own personality, but if you build a connection, they'll definitely be there to help you in any way they can.
So that's my tip. Also, like again, there's special studies. Like if you're like, man, I'm so tired of taking all these classes I don't care about. Okay, like you take the initiative to like curate your own project, but you can still go to, and you don't even have to do a special studies, but that's a way to get unit credit. But I'm sure like if I had like a project that I just started on my own time, I feel confident that I can email a professor of my choice and have them give me feedback.
Yeah, you can be like, hey.
Join their office hours and they'll be like, oh, you made this on your own? That's cool. Like fix this and that. What other opportunity? Oh, another opportunity I really like is I always tell people now, like, don't like bother getting a job off campus. Like get a job on campus. Because I worked like many other people in food service, and it was really hard to get them to respect my schedule, respect my grind. Like a lot of these jobs like want you to prioritize them and not school, which is ridiculous in my opinion. Like why would I prioritize you? Like school's way more important. So it's great working on campus because they know you're a student. They understand. They're like not gonna be like, They're like, I need you
Definitely.
to prioritize this job more than your classes. And like, but the only downs, I know some people though, like they have like when you work at school, you get a 20-hour cap. So I know there's people that have to work more than 20 hours. Like you have bills, you have responsibilities, like you have to. And then my only advice is like, don't try to force yourself like 15 units. You have to find a balance, because I don't think I've ever met someone who's full-time student, like 15 units and like full-time work. And I have no idea how that would even work.
The biggest opportunity I took was applying for our department has a diverse voices scholarship, and it's honestly not hard to apply. Well, except you have to write an essay, but it's not like like a whole thesis. It's
Free
just like,
money though, so write that.
so I'm like, they gave me $3,000, so like $3,000 for a 2-page essay, that seems fair. Obviously you're competing against other people and you have to have like a GPA and all that, but that was one of the biggest things, because I was working full-time, trying to pay rent, and then I was being a full-time student, so that money really helped me to get a relief from like real adulting life and actually focus on school. And that was a nice help that I got from our department. And then something else that I really take advantage of personally, as being involved in AIGA has brought me a lot of connections from alumni and just people working already in the industry, and hearing them talk about, because for AIGA we bring guest speakers to talk to the students about what it's like actually being a graphic designer. And obviously they come and talk to the student, and you can make that connection if you're part of the club, but as like board member of the club, you have to have more of a conversation, so you create even a closer connection that I can be like, hey, would you mind looking at my portfolio, or hey, do you know of anything that where they're hiring, stuff like that. So definitely those connections help me feel a bit more secure of life towards closer to graduation. Maybe that's why I'm like not, I mean, I'm freaking out, but not fully in a whole panic attack, having an existential crisis. I feel like I still have a little bit of backbone.
For VCD, like sometimes there will be opportunities in class to make stuff that you can use in the real life. So for example, I think it was in 2017, the typography workshop, which is at senior level, they all got in groups, and each group created a wine label for Horse Hill Vineyards, which is the school's wine that's like harvested on campus and all that stuff. So every single group had a label, and then they presented it to like the wine people, and they actually chose one label, and that wine label was mass produced, and you can find it at the farm store, and that was student designed. So I got to do that project too for like 2020, but I don't know what happened at the end, what got chosen. But that's a good opportunity. I know for the VCD classes, organizations will reach out to professors, and the professor will have everybody like redesign their logo, and then the person that made the organization gets their choice. The majority of our projects are like figuratively like, oh yeah, here's some museum branding, but this is fake. This is for my imagination. That's another reason why I really recommend in-campus jobs. Like I'm a student assistant for Project Caminos, but I'm like the graphic design student assistant, so I've gotten a chance to make like so much stuff.
I think that's so crazy, because I like our job because I don't do architecture in it, because I do something else completely different. But you do graphics, and then you come and do more graphics. I don't know how you just.
I do graphic design 24/7.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
Break.
If you don't want to really do a workshop, or you're tired of graphic design, you can find a way to get those credits somehow. And the way I found that is by helping run the art department Instagram. And that was an interesting thing to do, because I got an experience of what it's like to run a page. Like we all have our Instagrams, but we just post whatever. But in more of the marketing sides, you get to see like the engagement and how many times you have to post, you have to reply to people. So I thought it was gonna be easy because I thought I was gonna be like hashtag whatever.
Hashtag flyer. Hashtag motion graphics.
Yeah, and then when the class or like the job started happening, it was more than I expected. I had to design flyers for any, like if an event was happening or any hours that were going on for the print lab. I had to design the flyers. If there were any internships and our advisor wanted me to promote it and the internship didn't have a flyer, I had to be the one to design it because obviously just to make it nice.
Yeah.
And I was doing it for the credit, so it was worth it.
So you get credits for running the art page?
Yeah, if you talk to AIGA, you can get a credit for it. Honestly, our department's really nice about if you do something for the department, they'll find a way to just make it a special studies and you get
Special
credit
studies,
for
Instagram.
yeah,
No,
Instagram. Yeah, but in that sense, it was a little bit hard to time manage because I didn't expect it to be that time consuming. And then also another thing that's time consuming is our captions are very well thought out. We have to first you type the caption, and then our department is they try to be as inclusive as possible, and they take in consideration everyone who might see or interact with that post in any way. So we had to type out the caption and then under it a little description for anyone who is not able to see the photo of what's going on the actual photo. So that was also another thing that I had to think about. Like I could, like, let's say I put a photo of a poster, I had to describe the poster and be like, a poster with that states come visit us today with a red color and white type, like something like that. I had to, like, that requires a lot of brain power. And
like, what am I looking at?
yeah, like you have to think like, what am I even looking at? I'm like, English is not even my first language, so you guys are getting
you're asking for too much.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the kind of like the more harder part, but then the fun part is that our department Instagram is very they like to share students' work, and then professors share kind of the works that stood out the most to them in their classes. So I guess that's another incentive. Like if you try hard, you'll end up in the Instagram. And that was
that's literally like, if my project doesn't make it on the art Instagram, it wasn't good enough, and I'm not good
yeah,
enough.
That's your goal?
Yeah, yes, that's my goal. I kid you not.
Yeah, that is literally the goal too.
No, yeah, my first year, my project got posted on our architecture Instagram, and I was like, oh, I'm killing it today.
I was like, I am famous. Got to see a lot of students' work and like how amazing and talented the people in our department are, because some of the work I was like, wow, you are doing really good.
Yeah.
And then even the drawing classes, the motion graphics. Ali actually, I think, Ali, I'm so sorry I keep talking about this project, but that was a really nice one, the one you did for Knives Out.
Oh yeah, rebranded.
Rebranded it. It like I get to see that, and if I was not part of our department Instagram, like helping it, I would not been able to see all those cool projects, because obviously people keep them to themselves, maybe until you see their portfolio, but you kind of get to see what people are working on.
Yeah. Any tips for parents? That's a good one. Just be supportive, like be understanding. I want to say support via wallet, but not everyone can.
And also like
one thing that I've noticed some parents don't do is like ask your kid what they're doing in class. I love sharing with my mom like what I'm doing in class, but there's some parents that don't ask.
Yeah, no,
they can't explain what their kid is studying.
That's true. Yeah, my parents still kind of don't really know what I'm doing as for my major, which is but I understand, because as a first gen and they're immigrants, they're kind of like, what? But yeah, I think any tips for parents would be to try to ask your kid what they're doing in school. And I think most of us, we become, the more we're in our major, and if hopefully you do end up loving what you're doing, you become more nerd. I keep saying nerd, but like it's literally that you're obsessed with fonts and colors, and everyone else is like, why are you so excited about the color that they chose? But yeah, that. And I think it's just that support that you get from your parents, like if when it's finals week or when it's midterms, and you see us like struggling and trying, like stress and doing the all-nighters, just be like, oh, it's okay, no worries. Yeah, I think it's just
shoulder at one point or another.
Yeah, or like what's a joke? You know, your immigrant parents support you when they bring you cut up fruit. Yeah, when they bring your fruit to your room.
A tip for a parent is when you're filling out the FAFSA, let's not yell or cry about it. Like let's remain composed. Just give me your tag.
Yeah, I fill it out on my own. I'm just like, give me the work, I will do it, because hell no.
And that's also like an experience for people that you're like first gen.
And filling out FAFSA is like, tip. Project CAMINOS has a FAFSA workshop. Join it. Ask any question.
That's good, because I'm sure I committed fraud by accident.
My mom hangs all my paintings from from my painting elective, and it just looks so funny. Like they look like art projects from school, and they're like everywhere in the house. I'm like, you don't have to do that. We can put them in the garage. Please.
No, they're good. I've seen your paintings. Some of them are really good.
Like there's like 3 that I'm like, yeah, I did a good job, and the other ones I'm like, I hate that I have to walk in the house and like see them everywhere.
I love how our parents are like the ones that are like supporters from the beginning. Like even our crappy art from kindergarten, they'd be like, "It's beautiful." I'm like, "Why you lying?"
Don't lie to me. Actually, a rat ate all my kindergarten art, so maybe she's trying to
making up for
it.
It was it was Remy from Ratatouille.
It was like all like the pasta art crafts.
Oh, I see.
Well done.
Do you guys know how you want to decorate your graduation cups? Are you guys gonna decorate?
Yes, I have an idea, and it's basic, but mine's literally just gonna be like the Illustrator logo on the mortar board.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, I didn't even I haven't thought about that. I feel like it's been such a long and short journey. Like obviously 4 years is a long time, which felt really short, and I still feel surreal to me to like that to think about that. What, 3 months? 2 months, pretty much.
Three.
Well,
okay. Our industry night is like in 2 months, so I feel like after that we're gonna be
we're done.
We're done. So it's like 2 months, and then it just feels so surreal that we're gonna be walking that stage and shaking someone's hand, and they're gonna give us a piece of paper that says you are officially a visual communication design graduate. So I haven't really thought about that.
Join us every week for a new episode of Broncos Scoop. The question of the episode for this episode is, what other majors would you like us to cover in the series? I promise I will do architecture. That one's a given because I'm here and I run the show. So there will 100% be a really good architecture episode where I talk about what it was like for me, and I will bring a guest to that also studies architecture, and they can talk about their experience. But there's I believe 80 majors at Cal Poly Pomona. So I mean, each season we don't do 80 episodes only on majors, but we could cover quite a few this season. Join us every week for a new episode of Broncos Scoop. Subscribe to our channel, CPP Access and Transition, or follow us on Spotify, Broncos Scoop, to never miss a scoop. Make sure to check out our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at CPP CAMINOS to keep yourself updated. If you have any questions or want to talk about anything Cal Poly Pomona related, email us at caminos@cpp.edu. Project CAMINOS Broncos Scoop is supported with funding from the Department of Education, Hispanic Serving Institute grant, and Cal Poly Pomona's Office of Student Success, Equity, and Innovation. Tune in for more.